Ciao, hi, hey guys, it's your boy MKSA back in another video. As per usual nowadays, I like to record on both Facebook and YouTube at the same time, just in case something happens to one of them, so I'm on record somewhere. Anyway, I hope you enjoy listening to my ideas and suggestions for the Black Wall Street, and I hope to read from and hear from anyone else's suggestions. This is a bit later than planned. I was hoping to get, in fact, it's a fair bit later than planned. It took way longer than planned today. I suppose I was a bit lethargic and sleeping too much and whatever as usual, unfortunately. But anyway, it is what it is. I didn't get round to part 4, which I'm hoping to do ASAP. But this seems to keep happening this month for some reason. But anyway, maybe it's a changing in the weather or my diet or whatever. I said before in previous videos. But for some reason I'm really lethargic. But anyway, these are pointers number 21 to 30. So this is the third and penultimate part of my plans for empowering Black Wall Street. So I hope you enjoy it, and here goes. So as I say, I was hoping to do all 4 parts tonight and certainly finish before 1 o'clock, but it's already past 1 o'clock and I'm only on part 3. But yeah, time eluded me as per usual. But anywho, yeah, I seem to struggle to make decisions and be torn between my writing and making videos, and a lot of time I get writer's block as well. Anyway, here goes. So number 21, as I say, goes 21 again. I normally say that one, but I'm not going to go into too much details about the history. I know I said that in part 1, about the history of Black Wall Street, because people can Google it and check it on YouTube and check it on TikTok. I did hear a bit about the history on YouTube. I don't really read books, so I might have read a little bit on Google, but I did hear a bit about it on YouTube. But yeah, I won't go into too much detail because you can Google it. You can probably read books on it if you want, and check up on TikTok and YouTube for those who are interested in finding out about such. And I hope these videos will inspire people to want to check out about Black Wall Street and its history. Some of it is sad history, sad and bloody history. So I will give a trigger warning about that. In fact, I probably only know part of it. So it is quite a sad sort of thing, and I hope to turn it into a positive, I guess. But yes, something I was thinking I could have said in point number 2, and I was going to say in part 2, but I forgot, which is 1 second now, I'm in point number 21. But in the future, hopefully maybe in 2027, because I don't think I'll get around to it this month, and I like to focus on a certain theme for each month or whatever. But I'd love to find out about 40 facts about Black Wall Street and talk about those maybe again next year, ideally, if I remember to do so in February 2020. And I said 2022, then 2027. Yeah, 2027. Just had to remember then. But yeah, so probably on the first Wednesday, all being well, or maybe the last one. I think it'll be the first Wednesday, all being well, if I remember to do so. I'll probably have to try and put it in a diary somewhere or something. Make a note of it just to try and remind myself, and hope maybe people can remind me as well. Everyone out there, remind me. But if you know any other historical facts about Black Wall Street, please do post them in the comments. But moving on to point number 22, it'll be interesting to see what they could achieve, what the black community, could achieve in the future with Black Wall Street, like what they could create. I talk about how they could make more. I think they have made a few games, but maybe they could make more games. Some are could be based on Monopoly, Risk, and other sort of games where they have their own sort of versions of those games, or even making up their own original games, card games, board games, video games, websites, online games, also things like that. There could be people pay £1 to play a certain game or whatever, or even market it as something where people play for free, but if you get to a certain level or you want to play for a bit further, you have to pay, or they can make money through advertising. They could look into different business models on that, but also creating things like caps, hats, gloves, scarves, jumpers, t-shirts, and all sorts of different clothing and different sort of things. So yeah, seeing what they can make or create, so help design, grow, and that kind of thing together and whatnot. So what could what could they make out of it, what would come of it, and that kind of thing, in technology in different areas, basically. Um, yeah, so what could be the future? I talked a bit about the past, but also what could be in the future of like Wall Street. I suppose I could kind of cover a bit on those ideas, futuristic ideas in parts 1 and 2. But moving on, talking about the future, point number 23, I think like it'd be interesting to see um, what they could learn from each other, and also about how they could get funding, and looking into all the possible legal ways to get funding, preferably legal, of course. Say of course, but I think it would be good to always stick within the law and that kind of thing, and give a positive example for the black community and what they can achieve, and prove the racist wrong and that kind of thing. Prove the racist wrong and that kind of thing. And yeah, looking at all possible legal ways to get funding. I suppose ideas I think of is like how they could learn from each other. So black businesses that have already achieved could talk about how they got funding, and looking into all the different ways of getting funding, like GoFundMe's, crowdfunding. I'd love for the black community as well as other minorities maybe to lobby together to get tax cuts, tax exemptions for their own communities respectively, and work together. Maybe they could work more, improving relations with like Asians, mixed race people, Latinos, Hispanics, members of the Jewish community and whatnot. So other minority groups, they'll say POC minorities and whatnot, victims of white supremacy and that kind of thing, I guess you could say, and look at like funding each other, and look at lobbying to get tax cuts together, looking at tax-free wealth, and any sort of legal loophole or anything that or anything they can lobby for, excuse me, and also look at like providing tax cuts, tax incentives for investing in the black community and things like that. So yeah, look at all sort of legal ways to acquire funding, and like how banks can support them, and how they can support their own businesses and invest in each other's communities, and as I say, do crowdfunding, GoFundMe pages, and maybe even create their own sort of version. Maybe they could have their own business that's like a crowdfunding sort of thing, which they make themselves. So their own version that they make, the Black Wall Street version of that or whatever. And yeah, just looking at all different creative ideas, and how businesses have ran, have got funding in the past. So some say you don't be afraid to recreate the wheel rather than have to come up with an original idea or whatever. And sometimes they might come up with original ideas, but look at all possible ways they could acquire funding, tax cuts legally, tax loopholes. So there are legal tax loopholes, I would say. I know, like the entrepreneur Robert Kiyosaki says so. But I'm sure many African Americans have found out such themselves. Yeah, looking at all the ways to reduce their tax burden, if you like, to invest, borrow money, or whatever it takes, but obviously borrow it in a careful way and be financially educated on that and get some financial literacy. Again, they could teach each other and that kind of thing. Investing together and things like that, and support their own community as much as possible. And tackle poverty within their own community, especially, and hopefully make the world a better place as well for people and animals, young people, animals, and whatnot. And yeah, using YouTube, TikTok, books, and all sorts of different ways to raise revenue and that kind of thing. But yeah, I suppose some ideas might be a bit naive or idealistic, but I'd love to know, as ever, again, what people out there think. So please let me know, either on Facebook, Andrew, or YouTube, and get involved in the discussions and that kind of thing. And maybe you could share ideas with the official Black Wall Street on their Facebook, Andrew, or YouTube channel and their website or whatever. Number 24, I think it'd be cool if it'd be worldwide, international, global, and that kind of thing. Same sort of thing, worldwide / international / global, so all over the world. I sort of briefly touched on that before in parts 1 and 2, but yeah, I think they could achieve a lot more, and thinking on a global scale as well, thinking on an international, global, worldwide scale, to scale their businesses up. If I understand scaling, I think that means where you look at how you can grow internationally and things like that. I perhaps should try and Google the definition of that. But yeah, thinking big and that kind of thing together. And as someone put it, I'm I'm not sure if it was Damon John or someone else who said, if you can think small, you can think big as well. Might be Donald Trump who said that. Anyway, yeah, working together globally. I'm sure there's something else I was going to say. Oh yeah, one of the reasons why this is just probably a bit of a trivial side note, but I mentioned about how this is like a lot later than planned, and I wanted to do it on a Wednesday because like Wall Street Wednesday, and that kind of thing due to my alliterations, but use of alliterations, but also I think like worldwide Wednesdays and that kind of thing. Number 25, seeing what they can achieve, and I hope. I mentioned how I'd love for Celtic to work with Town Football and Celtic to work with the official Black Wall Street. I'd love for the official Black Wall Street to invest in Roma, Milan or Roma, AC Milan or Roma, preferably the latter, and also Celtic, and like fund them, sponsor them, and that kind of thing, and hopefully towards a mutual benefit, maybe. Again, sponsor it as part of their PR, and hopefully get something in return. And maybe there can be fundraising games where Milan or Roma or the Italian teams even, and Celtic and youth teams as well, Italian youth teams especially, could be invited to play soccer with African Americans and work with FIFA and organisations like that, who I'm sure will be happy to get more people into football, soccer, or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, hopefully they can work together. Number 26, hopefully they can bring forward the case for reparations and look at perhaps past precedents of reparations, who they can lobby with, who they can network with, to call for that, and looking into sort of learning about legal systems and like lobbying for reparations, perhaps maybe as an idea. Again, these are my own personal suggestions. Doesn't mean they may not agree with every idea I share, or even any of the ideas I share, or whatever. But it'd be up to them to think, oh yeah, this mad guy has got some ideas that we could implement. So I hope these ideas will spread and people get involved in the discussions and discard the ones they don't want, I guess, and try the ones that they like, or even ideas they might think, I don't think that will work, but I could give it a try, and it's worth taking a risk, and they could try different things and see which one works, I guess. That's one thing I'm a big fan of, like bootstrapping or budgeting. The idea of doing so because I won't say I'm very frugal with money, but it means that you can afford to take risks, and if it doesn't work, it won't be too detrimental, won't be catastrophic, if you like, financially. You can just move on after mistakes. Whereas if you spend so much money on a business, and if it goes wrong, you've lost all your money or whatever, or so much money or whatever. So it's an amount you can perhaps afford to lose, but still want to psychologically put in as much effort as possible. And of course, it'd be good if you can make it work. I hope that makes sense. Number 27, again, as a reward for me supporting them, I hope they will invest into and sponsor Italian and Celtic. Also, as I say, think about rewards. I mentioned, and I'll mention again, I know I'm very repetitive, but that there could be tax incentives for investing into the black community. So Walmart, IBM, Oracle, and so many other companies could be given tax incentives to encourage them, entice them, and encourage them to invest into black-owned businesses, for instance, or whatever it might be. And if they can't get funding from banks, they could fund their own community. But maybe once again, like any potential investors and sponsors of black projects would be black-owned projects would be incentivized through tax cuts and that kind of thing. So that would encourage more banks and lenders to invest into the black community or whatever, investors, sponsors, and whatnot for black-owned projects and that kind of thing. Number 28, talking about black projects, I think it'd be cool. I mentioned about how they could bring all the projects that are black empowerment projects under this umbrella of the official Black Wall Street, the new Black Wall Street and that kind of thing. So they could, that could include like Buy Black and Bank Black and that kind of thing, and all sorts of projects that benefit the black community, I think, as individuals and as groups. And on 29, I hope that my fellow mixed race people, my fellow Munsters, I joke called us, and other mixed race people, and other minorities would support the black community again, POC, non-WASPs, people who are not white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, working together. Um, and I guess you could say victims or potential victims of white supremacy, that kind of thing, historically. So using the hate of white supremacy, I know I mentioned that recently, but using that to unite together and support each other. And also, I mentioned about how I'd love for African Americans and the black diaspora to learn more about neurodivergent conditions. And I think that would be cool if they learned more about such. And I'm 30, so yeah, hopefully they can achieve as much as possible. And I think I'll leave it at that for now, and hopefully get round to part 4 ASAP. And on that note, as I say, please do feel free to share any ideas you have, so we can get involved in discussing different ways and different ideas and try different things to benefit the community. And on that note, I'm out. Peace and love.